Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things, of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
All right. Parts you'd like to work with?
Definitely my anger, because I got a massive step further in understanding myself, because I understood that I never really knew how to feel my anger. I don't think I fully really understand it as well, but also with not really knowing, how should I put it? My anger, as it's, let's say, repressed, it's connected to a lot of pain. Only today it really hit me how this anger is connected to being really, really hurt. And how should I put it? With this, the automated repression. So I guess, the way I understand myself now, at this point now, is that basically to not feel the hurt, also the anger itself kept getting repressed.
Okay.
So today, to be honest,
yeah, just want to make sure I'm hearing it right. So there's the pain that we want to go away, or this part wants to go away, and then that brings up anger. And then the anger also gets repressed, all in that kind of service of pushing away the pain. Does that sound right?
I'm close to it, not exactly, because as this is still related, or not still, but it's very related to work and so on. And how should I put it? One of my most impactful, strongest coping parts always has been the good boy part in me, who always wanted to have harmony, that everyone's happy. In the last time we talked about how this is also part of the social part in me, who wants to give everyone the best time.
Right.
But I noticed that with others, because I could never, my whole life, I could never stand the energy of anger in a room, let's just say in a room. And this anger always kicked off my good boy part. instead of my own anger, or when I was done injustice. Basically, whenever something was done wrong to me, the good boy part kicked in immediately, and so basically, and whatever, because of course, like any human being, I had more than enough reason or valid points to be angry at, for, with, and so on and so forth. But this automatically always got repressed because the good boy in me took over.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So if there's a feeling of injustice, then what you're saying is a valid kind of anger gets repressed by this good boy, everybody get along, make everyone happy. Okay.
Because this basically, like, this theme already started last time. Basically, I always put everyone before myself.
Right. Okay. So which feels like we should go to first? Would it be the anger or the good boy? Is one of them asking for your attention more?
Currently, the anger is asking for my attention more.
Okay.
Because I noticed that with the good boy, there's been a lot of resistance and so on and so forth. So the good boy, let's say, is a little bit shy at the moment.
Right. Okay. And where do you notice the anger in or around your body when it comes up?
Especially in the left side of my body, like the left chest area, going down to the belly, up to shoulder, and the left neck. Now I notice that as I get more into feeling it, it starts to extend also to go up from the left neck to the left ear, down my left arm. And now it's starting to go down my left leg as well.
And how do you feel towards it as you notice it there?
On the one hand, as usual, when we're talking, very compassionate, but on the other hand, also scared.
Okay. Let's check in with that scared part and just see what its concerns are.
Basically of the energy being directed against myself.
Okay. Can you say more about what that part is conveying, what that looks like?
Well, the scared part is scared about basically me ending my own life, but there's no way I would do that. I love myself way too much to do that.
Okay. And is it concerned that the anger would be the part that kind of overwhelms and pushes you in that direction?
Yeah, that's precisely it.
Okay. All right. So you could just let that scared part know that you're here and that it's going to be your decision how much to connect with, contact the angry part. And maybe let it know about just your work in IFS and your ability to, learn from parts from a safe distance.
With that, I noticed that the scared part is also, how to put it, it's not even that scared about the angry energy itself, but moreover, about the all the pain, all the injuries it basically has shackled on. It's like all those, all those moments of injustice in my life where that basically where the pain was repressed and keeps carrying with it now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that, those can be the most overwhelming kind of parts or memories. So, same message. Try to send it that same message of, you will have that ability to negotiate with parts. You can ask parts to share in ways that aren't overwhelming to you. And if this part does need to come in and take you out of what seems like a too scary of a situation, it can. So we don't want it to give up its valuable role. We just want it to relax and soften back a little bit. See how it responds to that.
It likes that. So basically, it's gonna act as, let's say, the emergency button.
Right. Very valuable button.
Oh yeah.
All right. And so now, how are you feeling towards the anger?
Now it's basically pure compassion and curiosity.
Wonderful. Okay, see if you can let that angry part know that you're feeling that way towards it. Let it know that you're curious. And just invite it to speak with you. And just see what it has to say. You can ask it what it wants you to know.
The main thing it wants me to know is how it itself is really hurt. And basically how it's, let's say, locked, that basically like a sort of a state of desperation, as it doesn't really know what to do, how to act properly. So it can be used as it would like to be used.
Okay. So it's feeling desperate, locked up, and like it's not able to be put to use and do its valuable role.
Exactly.
Okay. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Just let it know it makes sense to you. And that you see it in that position. You could ask maybe how it got there. If there are other parts that are pushing back on it, or how it came to be locked up like that.
Well, basically, it feels like it failed because the other parts don't trust it. It feels like it failed massively, and this is going to be a tough episode.
Just remember, we don't have to publish anything, and you don't have to share anything with me. If a part tells you something that feels too vulnerable or whatever, just
No, I
trust
definitely want
your
to
intuition.
publish it. The part also wants it to be published. I was just mentioning that because I never was as emotional when we talked as I am today.
Okay. And just I'll also remind you that if anytime you're feeling like it's becoming overwhelming, you can just take some steps back. You can ask parts not to overwhelm you.
Mm-hmm.
This angry part was saying that other parts don't trust it and it felt like it failed.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you can maybe just let it know that you see that. And you see how that would be hard for it.
And it's really angry that it came, really angry that it came to this, that basically now at this age, we have to learn how to use it properly instead of having had the chance to learn it sooner.
Yeah. So there's maybe some grief around that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Does that all make sense to you? And are you okay just kind of sitting in that with this part?
Absolutely.
Great. Is there anything else it wants to tell you about its experience?
Only that it's really sorry.
And how are you feeling towards it as you kind of hear all this from it?
I'm really sad about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can show it that. You might send it the message that you see how these other parts have been hard on it or haven't trusted it, but that the goal here is for you to get to know it and for you to be able to trust it and vice versa, so that it's not in that battle with other parts. So you can just let it know that, and let it know that you can go to those other parts, kind of work out the same deal with all of them.
I'd like to bring in the good boy part into the constellation.
Okay, I'm curious what your aim is in doing that now.
Basically, to get more into touch with the good boy part and to find understanding as to why it's basically completely pushing away anger when anger is justified.
Mm-hmm. And do you want to kind of take anger out of the room to do that, or do you want to have a little conference with both of them?
I'd like to have a conference with both of them because, how should I put it, the anger is incredibly young, and
Okay, yeah.
I would like to show the good boy part that it's not as bad as it seems to be.
Okay. Well, if you feel like you're in a good space to do that, go for it. You can invite them both. You can maybe see one of them in each hand or in each seat. How's it going?
It feels peaceful. I guess the good boy part, because it's always in the moment, so overwhelming. Because of that, I guess it's probably a firefighter. Because also what in this piece it shows is that the good boy part is just really trying to protect everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how about the angry part? Is its role also protective?
To be honest, I don't, and it doesn't even know, as I never used it in my life.
Okay. We can learn
I
that
would
from
like
it.
to use it protective, yeah.
Yeah. I know that earlier you said that it's connected to a lot of pain.
Oh yeah.
And so I was thinking maybe it's protecting you from that pain.
It's, how should I put it? It's connected to a lot of pain that basically it couldn't protect me from, as I wasn't able to use the pain in that situation. I mean, as I wasn't
Able to use the anger, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's really burdened. Like the anger part is really burdened by these memories.
Hmm. Okay. What needs to happen next?
Logically, it would be to get into the memories and perhaps try, let's say, like a rewriting, but I don't even know where to start. Like which one?
I am in agreement with your intuition on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would probably suggest going back to the angry part, kind of finishing or going deeper into understanding it, learning about it. And doing that, I would probably ask that good boy part to get back into the waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
How's that sound?
That sounds good. It's trusting us. So basically, it's already leaving.
Awesome. So you said this angry part is a young part?
Mm-hmm.
Can you...
Like it's presented itself to me as a toddler. Something that perhaps might be in the context useful during the week in regards to work at one point. How should I put it? Basically, as I kept repressing the anger, there was like this energetic, let's say, battle. Like I really felt how it kept pushing down, but the anger kept pushing back up, and so basically it started to in meditation visualize itself as like a basically a fire-spewing raven.
A fire. I didn't quite catch that.
Like a raven that can spew fire.
Okay. All right. And what's your proximity to it right now? How are you being with it?
I'm a little bit away from it. I don't know in feet. In meters, it would be
You can use
about
meters.
about 2 meters.
Okay. And are there any other parts that don't want you to go to this part, that are objecting or concerned about you working with this?
Not really, because after the last weeks, the other parts begin to see themselves in sort of desperation that the mechanics of being a good boy start to become obsolete in the outside world.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And does it feel right to get closer to that part?
I noticed that with getting closer that there are still some trust issues, because it feels like when I get closer, like I'm getting closer to a feral animal.
Yeah. Yeah. It hasn't had that connection with you, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So just let it know it can communicate with you however it wants, and that you'd like to just learn more about it, learn more about its experience, anything that's been hard for it.
I just noticed that with trying to get closer, I don't know if it's the anger part or something, perhaps maybe some other part kicked in, because suddenly, because this was like firefighter behavior. Suddenly, Kanye West Through the Wire started to play and got distracted from that. Until I realized that this got me completely distracted from what I wanted to do.
Okay, so you started hearing a song in your head,
Exactly.
and it distracted you from going to this part?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
This never happened before.
Okay. You might want to tune into that radio station and see where that message is coming from, and what its concern is with you learning from this angry part, this angry toddler.
To be honest, I don't really find the source, and it feels like it makes me loop in the search for that. But this now makes me feel anger on another level, like unrelated to the incredibly young toddler anger.
Okay, let's hear more about that.
Like this anger is that I'm feeling now is much closer to this heart center, and yeah, that's really pissing me off.
Yeah, what is it? What's the anger about?
That whatever wants to protect me here doesn't that wants to protect me from getting in touch with this incredibly young anger.
Mm-hmm. So there's anger about parts that might be interfering, and
Exactly.
and that you're having, and there's difficulty in identifying them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Does that all make sense to you? That parts would be that way, and that there would be some anger around that or some frustration.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Just send that message to your whole system. This is all normal. Parts get exiled for a good reason, and there's usually a lot of other parts that want to keep us from going there. Now, how's that anger that it just come up?
That one is now how to put it, more stabilized again, because as you mentioned that it's normal, I could accept really quickly that it's normal.
Yeah.
And interestingly, this was like, how should I put it? Basically the heart center chest tensing up, and it felt like it was fire burning.
Mm-hmm. And are you okay with all these sensations that you're getting now?
Absolutely. And I noticed that I'm still a little bit pissed off about it, but less than earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's pretty big work that we're doing. Right?
It's true.
And even what you've done so far in just seeing this part for what it is so huge.
Thank you.
So would you like to try again to communicate with it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just ask it to let you know whatever it wants you to know. Tell it you really want to understand it. How's it going?
Much better now. Basically, it's pretty much sitting on my lap, but there's still a bit of distance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just tell it that you've seen again how these other parts have been hard on it. You see the pain that it's in, and you just would like to know more about that. That you really want to get it. You really want to understand its pain.
Basically, it's telling me that it's fact that we're polarized, but in the end, I'm gonna have to start taking actions in the outside world with and for the angry part, disregarding what the other polarized parts are trying to push, protect, whatever.
Okay. So it's saying that it wants you to act on its behalf more out in the world and to keep those other parts away or
Exactly,
hold them back.
to act on its behalf more, disregarding what the other parts are doing or saying or whatever.
Okay. Does it make sense to you that it wants that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't think that we need to make any promises of how what to do going forward, but it's good to just hear what's on its wish list and to see what that would look like.
Mm-hmm.
Is there more that it can tell you about kind of how it got in this place and what it's been like?
basically because from as early as I can remember, it was frowned upon when I was angry, and basically I always got punished to some extent whenever I was angry.
Yeah. Yeah. And does it feel like you get it? Does it trust that you understand that experience, or is there more it would like to show you about how that was for it?
It'd like to show me more, but basically I noticed still some interference from other parts, because when earlier today I began to understand with or that the angry part is connected with so many, let's say, injuries that I've had repressed. So understanding anew how really hurt I am. So it's not how should I put it. Other parts are afraid that that would be a bit too much for today.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it's your call if you want to. If you want to, ask those parts to step back, or if you want to agree with them that to take those to go at their pace.
I'm asking them to step back.
And if there are painful memories, injuries that this part needs to show you, again, you can negotiate with it on how it does that. And there's no hurry. So this could be a long process. But the goal isn't to necessarily, see everything that's ever happened. It's to build trust with the part. So
it's just I'm also really tired of how should I put it, of having been let's say a polarized victim for all of my life, because basically it's basically been bipolar victimship I've always had. Sometimes or for some periods in life I got myself out completely, then fell back all the way down into complete victimhood, and basically I just don't want to be a victim anymore.
Yeah.
And because in the end, I'm just a victim of my own making, so to say.
Well, yeah, you can be a victim of your parts if they're running the show. Then we all are. We all are just passengers.
True.
This is the way. This is the way to earn their trust and to become the leader. But you have to really understand them. So yeah, if it feels right, just ask that part to show you what it needs to show you. How's it going?
I did already see several memories, but there's the thing of that I mentioned early in the conversation or at the start, I think, that I don't really know how to feel the anger itself. So there's something blocking me from feeling what happened there.
Okay.
Or the pain that's related to that.
Yeah. I think this is the process. I think the more that you can sit with this part directly without those other parts interfering, that you can see it for what it is, which is a toddler. See those injustices and just witness them. And it is hard to see. And again, you don't have to re-experience every thing that hurt. But it's very important that you witness it and that this part feels like you really understand it.
Oh, that's true. That I absolutely agree with.
Yeah. You could check in with it and just see, does it trust you? Does it think that you get it? You could even put a number on it, like what percentage, do you get it? Does it trust you?
It certainly trusts me now more than the other parts, because more than the other parts trust it, because it already then started to talk about imagining the things it could be used for.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be very useful to have around, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. And with that, I begin to notice that the issue is really much more related to the injuries that it's carrying around with itself, not with the anger energy in itself.
Right.
Because I notice now then basically with, how should I put it, being so comfortable with the toddler itself that suddenly basically it was like this, because all those repressed memories are visualizing itself like those stereotypical chains that in, let's say, early Disney cartoons from the 30s, jailmates used to wear on their feet, but like absurdly long and with some absurdly large rocks attached to them.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And then seeing this basically went from turned from the positive energy of what the angry energy could be, or the positive, how should I put it, mood from what the angry energy could be used for, suddenly to fear of all these injuries that I will have to at least accept that it had happened and that I couldn't do it better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a grieving process sometimes to just sit with these parts, witness them. And then, the light on the other side of that is that you can kind of reunite with them and bring them out of that time. You can also go through that process of kind of redoing some of those things, going back into its time and kind of being there for it in the way that it needed someone.
This makes me realize now, after, I don't know, this is probably a fifth conversation or so, but now I just realized that no matter what I'm doing, no matter if I'm talking to you, therapist, or craniosacral stuff and so on and so forth, it never felt like there's anyone there for me, because in the end, I wasn't really fully there for myself. Because I just noticed that, for example, with now accepting all or understanding more how really hurt I am, that basically because I couldn't accept that I'm this hurt.
Yeah.
Now it's suddenly changing. That I understand that I'm more there for me than up until now.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I understood.
That's right. Yeah, it's a bittersweet process of reflecting on all the times that you weren't there for this part, but then seeing that can change. And you're absolutely right that those external anything we reach for externally, it just cannot satisfy parts in the way that we can.
As we're getting close to the end of the hour, I'm just curious about parts work itself, because last time we talked about it being more or making it more efficient and or more goal directed. I noticed since last time that because I prefer to do it meditatively, but I noticed that then I have a really hard time to stay in self. That like it's about, let's say, 90% of time then being let's say, not overwhelmed is the wrong word. Let's say that the part that I'm communicating with takes over completely. Even when it's, how should I put it? Let's say inappropriate. And because of that, I figured, do you also have experience with written part work? Because when I'm writing, I'm a bit more in my head. And so I can keep more of a distance that, I don't know, I'll just...
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I'm almost always writing when I'm doing, if I'm doing more than a 10-second check-in, I usually am writing.
But does this do you get the same connection to the part that you do the same connection as in meditation, or is it like different? Like do you feel you connect as intense, or let's put it that way? Do you feel you connect as intense?
For me, I do. For me, I do. Yeah. I mean, I take notes on all of these calls. I'm writing. I've written a page already of just. It's just as a way to kind of keep me on track and yeah, to not get distracted, to not get sucked into if the parts are telling a story and I have parts that come up around it and I identify with that, or that sounds scary to me, and it's just a way to kind of stay on track.
Cool, because then I'll definitely try it written as well, because I tried some basically early when I discovered IFS, but back then I couldn't really, how to put it, let myself get into it when writing. So I want to try again, because as you say, as I said last time, let's make it more goal oriented, to really, let's say, properly work more like we did in the call just now.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Thank you.
So how is it now with this part?
Much, much better. And how should I put it? It's been quite revelatory, the day-to-day, especially now further with you, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yes, if you'd like, I can stay on a little past the hour. If you'd like to try going through some of those other steps with this part.
Not so much this part, but another part that, how should I put it, like right now, because we're paying attention to anger, is a bit more quiet, but it's, how should I put it, it's like a loud noise in the background, because in the end, I'm gonna have to quit my job and in the worst case scenario, be unemployed without unemployment salary for like 1.5 months. Because when you quit on your terms and you don't have another job, basically the job center here is like, well, tough luck, you shouldn't have quit.
Right. So what I'm hearing is, as you are working with this part, you're having a realization, or maybe a part is telling you that the consequence will be that you'll need to quit your job.
So basically this consequence I'm already aware of since before that, but now that I, especially today, grew more comfortable with the anger part, like this consequence keeps manifesting more and more. But there's the perhaps that's the good boy part in itself. Perhaps it's another that's really scared of uncertainty, and really scared of uncertainty.
Yeah, and it's great that you're listening to that and respecting that. And oftentimes there are external circumstances which are going to that need to come first, and that slow down the work. If quitting your job isn't an option, then you might choose to just respect that and say, okay.
Well, luckily it is an option. It's an option that will suck because of having to live on, how should I put it, my typically millennial meager savings. But it's an option.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it does sound like there's a lot to process, a lot to listen to. When you're working with exiles, like you have been here, it's just really important that when these other parts come up, that you address them, and you're doing that. So that's great. But you don't want to get the blowback from these protective parts.
That's true.
When you kind of go too deep, too far too fast with an exile, and kind of ignore all of their warnings. So I think that that decision of where am I going to work, what am I going to do without a job, all of that, like that's pretty big stuff that you wouldn't want to just blow past in the pursuit of connecting with exiles.
That's very true, yeah.
Okay, so if we are going to kind of close the conversation with this younger part, what does it need from you? What would you like to? Well, what does it need from you?
For now, it comes down to more acceptance because, how should I put it? There's still resistance against the fact that I'm that hurt. Yeah. So because today I could lift a lot of that resistance already, but it's not gone yet. So the resistance, so I don't fully accept it just yet.
Right. Yeah. So would it help to just let that part know that you will come back to it, and that you will continue in this process? And if you want to do that with me, I'd be honored.
Yeah, I'd love to. That's why basically I already booked the Saturdays for November.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Yeah, we can pick right back up here. But yeah, just check in with that part and whatever it needs from you, as you're focusing back on the outside world.
Yeah, it's looking forward to me coming back to it.
Great. Is there anything else that needs to happen? Anything else that you want to communicate with it before we get off end the conversation?
Not really, except the only thing it's been telling me is and now do something in the outside world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess that's a good final or good closing words.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't, with parts, we want to lead them. And so we need their input. And yet at the end of the day, the idea is that the leader makes the decision. So
that's true.
Yeah, I would suggest not making it any promises on what you do in the outside world. But I can promise you that doing parts work will affect how you show up in the world. So,
oh yeah,
it's not.
That I already noticed now because last week my superior in the company I work at told me that she like randomly that she already noticed that basically how should I put it, that I'm putting up borders much more than I used to and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely noticeable already.
Yeah. And hopefully, as you go through the unburdening process with this part and with all parts, they can just kind of trust you, and I think that's kind of just the fact of the matter with most parts is they have really strong opinions about certain things and they want to see big action in their specialty. And that's great. We need that from them. But as we can help them relax and trust that we're listening, often they also kind of modulate and turn down those requests.
In the end, I think so too, because over the last 2-3 months it's been since I got into IFS, other parts got touched, but yeah, as I said, they modulated down. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing and for doing this work.
I have to thank you again.
Yeah, thanks to all those parts that showed up, and it sounds like they're all communicating with you quite well. You're doing great at listening to them and responding to them. Even the ones that are tricky, the distractions, the ones that are hard to put your finger on. The fact that you're noticing that you're not noticing or whatever, you're in it, you're doing it.
Thank you. With that, I just noticed like when the song was playing, it kind of was, how should I put it? Everything's, how should I put it? It's always matching the situation because the song "Through the Wire" by Kanye is like I should put it in terms of the lyrics, like really like a good description for getting like on a metaphysical level, getting into touch with your anger.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Then I'm also not going to hold you longer in the call. Thank you again, and talk to you the next Saturday.
Okay, looking forward to it. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.